Good day and welcome to another edition of One-on-One with Swope Health. I am your host, Eric Wesson. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks so much for your feedback, input, show ideas. We're going to be moving right along with a lot of those ideas and a lot of good information that we will be sharing with you in the coming weeks. Our guest today is my brother from another mother, Jason Parson. He is the president, CEO, owner, do-it-all guy at Parson Associates. Jason, thanks so much for joining us today.
It's truly a pleasure. You know, anytime I have an opportunity to sit with you and we can't talk about what we really talk about. No. We got to stay laser focused. I don't know about, FEC and all that. So we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep the main stuff right now.
So Jason, where are you from?
From Kansas City. Grew up right on 28th and Bells and 30th and Brooklyn, and moved out to Lee Summit went to high school at Blue Springs, but graduated from UMKC. So pretty much all my life I've been here in Kansas City. Okay. And military career? Yeah, joined right after high school. I was 17 years old and realized that for me, at that moment, I needed something. Mm-hmm. And I figured, at some point I would want to go to school, and, I really didn't have an avenue to pay for it. And so I joined the military. 17 was the youngest one there, and at the time, but it was a wonderful experience. Probably the best thing that happened being so young, I didn't have to shave for the first 8 weeks because I couldn't grow no hair.
So that saved you some money in buying razors.
And push-ups and everything else, because they didn't have to worry about me coming to formation with hair on my face.
Okay. So after that, you come out, you do some things, and you wind up. Let's fast forward to Parson Associates. What does Parson Associates do?
Well, just to take just one step back, really the driver of it was February 10, 2003, about 3:30 p.m. I got a call to go to war. And so that was a Sunday. And the Monday, the very next day, because at the time I was working for the city of Kansas City, Missouri Parks and Recreation Department, the very next day at 07:30 a.m., I reported to go to war for the invasion of Iraq. And so, I was there, but while there, I just knew I wanted to do something different. If the good Lord saw fit for me to return home. And I did, being at war, you're going to change. Either you're going to change for the better or you're going to change for the worse, but you're going to change. So, my thought was coming back home, again, I just wanted to do something for community. Anyway, so that started the process of me trying to figure out what that looked like. And then in 2007 really was when it sort of took off, meaning just got it going, the company, and it certainly hadn't been an easy run, but it's certainly been well worth it.
How many employees did you start out with?
You looking at the employees. Who else is in here with us? I started out with one employee, a half working computer, and a phone. I was just making sure the bill was paid, and sitting in my house, looking up, thinking, here we go. And so that's where it started from, man. It was just, it was nothing, and but it was something because I believed in self, and even though at the time, there was nothing around me that would there was no guarantee of success. I guess that's what I'm saying. And yet, I just knew that failure wasn't an option.
Okay. And so now, how many employees?
9 employees, full-time employees.
Okay. Contracts, city, county, state?
Yeah. So we are really trying to diversify our work portfolio. So, for example, we've done work in Omaha, Wichita. We just won a project and another project in Wichita, and Kansas City. Obviously, we've been very, very fortunate to do many of your high-profile projects in Kansas City, the streetcar, airport, things of that nature, and also doing work in the private sector as well. So just really for me, it is just trying to take what we do and pursue projects that we think we can make a difference.
So is the streetcar going to come out 18th Street or what?
Yeah, we have some great leadership in Councilwoman Melissa Patterson Hasley, and certainly support from Councilwoman Melissa Robinson. And if you look at the spine of the streetcar going north and south and the success of it, the next logical extension is going east and west. And if you think about 18th Street, you know, what I call it is the absolute best cultural corridors in all of Kansas City. There's absolutely nothing like 18th Street. If you can start at the far east where Arthur Bryan's is and go all the way west downtown to the crossroads. Along 18th Street, there is nothing like it. And so you ask the question, is that the next logical place, or is that where it should go? And my answer is absolutely yes. Right now, we're concluding what's called a feasibility study to see if this is actually doable, and we're not close to breaking ground in any way, but this is a step in the right direction, and there's a lot more work that has to be done in order for us to get there. But I will say there's a lot of folks who understand the importance of going east and west, and this is the right time to do it. Okay.
So in addition to that, you also are an entrepreneur in another way because you have properties down there now that you're invested in. And how are those going?
So we have a number of properties. 2000 Vine was the very first one. It was, those two buildings sat for decades, and we took a chance through, many broken windows and movies that were being recorded in there that, should not have been recorded in there. But we were able to open those doors, and so in the buildings, if you've been down to the historic Jazz District, you got Vine Street Brewery and one, Vine Street Chicken is the other tenant, and so we're super proud of both of them. And Vine Street Brewing was the first black-owned brewery to operate like that in the state of Missouri. And so the North Building, is just more so office space. And then this year in May, we breathed new life into the Boone Theater, which had, been sitting for, again, absolutely decades. And so, we are running a production right now with the Black Rep. We're very proud of that. It is, an absolute jewel of an event space. If you haven't been in there, it is just incredible. The sound system, I think, would rival any system in Kansas City, but the venue itself is just, it's a flexible space where, again, right now we're doing a one-woman show, but you could also do a wedding. You can also do, any corporate events, things of that nature. So we are moving our offices in there on the second floor. There's an attorney in there. There are others. And so it is going to be an active space once it's fully built out.
So I was there to see the Sarah Richter one-woman show, a fabulous production. I think she did a remarkable job. I would equate it to a Broadway play, just watching her go through that process. I thought it was phenomenal. Her performance, the information that she shared that wasn't in the Amazon Prime movie, a lot of things that I didn't know, and I thought I knew the background well, but there were some things there. But when we look at the connection, because you're also the chair of the Downtown Council, how do we connect 18th and Vine and the Jazz District to downtown? And what's your role, and what are some of the projects they have working on?
So for me, when I think about downtown, you certainly have your core, but you also have rings that sort of go around the core of downtown, and I do think, and as we think about downtown and downtown council, we do consider the historic Jazz District part of that community. Same thing on the west side, and so as the chair of the downtown council, I just make sure all those neighborhoods that we talk about that are a part of this downtown footprint are engaged in this downtown council effort in some way, shape, or form. So whether that is, we've held different events within the district, meaning the downtown council. Again, for me, it is just highlighting all the wonderful projects that are happening in the district, trying to connect people. Again, same thing on the west side, even north, which doesn't need much help. North meaning the River Market area. But the Jazz District is always special to me. Let me make no bones about it. I've been in the Jazz District literally all my life. Go back generations to the Jazz District, and so
and tell people how you have that connection.
So my grandfather was one of the ones that put Kansas City on the map. Jay McShann, who's a famous jazz musician, and so and through him I really started to have at the time growing up, certainly maybe not as much of an appreciation for his work and really this city as a whole in terms of how we're viewed globally. Growing up, I did start to have a much better appreciation of his accomplishments and what he's done not only for Kansas City but for jazz as a whole. And with all that, the pull to be down in the historic Jazz District has always been real for me. I'm not saying I could have officed any and everywhere. I'm not going to make that statement, but it was intentional. I don't know how many times I've had to move offices in the Jazz District.
Let's say you were down
in the Lincoln Building. Started in the Lincoln Building. Moved it, 3 or 4 offices in the Lincoln Building. And you're right, I was down the street, then around here or there. But you know what though, man? The point to all that, it's kind of crazy to think about it, but I never left the district. Each move, it was just I was gonna try to figure out how to stay in the district because that matters to me, and so for me, I could assure you this is my last move. When we'll be moving into the new space probably within the month, and if anyone says to you, well, Jason's moving office, say they lie.
I would have thought you would have moved over on Vine though.
Yeah, at one point, I was looking at it, but really,
pay rent to yourself.
Pay rent, well, yeah, Boone is the same thing, right? But, Boone is, I think it better fits our office culture in terms of it's, more of an open space, and we do internally, we collaborate a lot with each other, and so it sort of fits, and but hey man, I'm done with all this stuff. Trust me. This is it for me, bro. This is it.
So connecting the downtown council so that it's a household name when people think about things that are going on in the downtown council's role. How long are you the chair for? A year or 2 years?
1 year. I have another, this is June, so I have another 5 months roughly as the chair.
So what do you want to accomplish in these 5 months?
It's a great question. And, it's a great question for a number of reasons. One, when I started as chair, when you think about a year, you think you have time, and then you get in that year. There's obviously already like things in motion when you get in that seat. But for me, like one of the things that I did do was once a quarter we go out and have a coffee somewhere, and I have the leadership of the downtown council, and it gives the community an opportunity to go, like we have been at Cafe Cortisone, Southwest Boulevard, and if people don't know about the downtown council, have questions, they just come out and they say, what do you guys do, and how can I be involved? Or it's a great way for people to connect with each other, which has happened as well. Long and short, what I wanted to do was go beyond the four walls. I just wanted us to go to the people, and we've been doing that. We got a couple of more left in terms of just doing that as long as I'm the chair. But beyond that, what I really want to at least get started in terms of conversations, when we think about those communities that typically are not represented by a majority, whether investment or whatever else the case may be. What I want to make sure happens is that I try my best to make those connections of if there's an opportunity for resources or whatever those opportunities may be, but just connect people. So for example, at the American Jazz Museum, I sit on that board. We've been instrumental in trying to bring more people on that board that can do things that we need to help move the American Jazz Museum forward. So with the downtown council, again, with my 6 months remaining, again, whether it's east side, west side, I'm certainly passionate just about making sure minority communities are participating. That's really what I'm going to just try to do, is make sure people, connected to the resources and create that pipeline so that even after my year is up, those conversations could continue in a meaningful way. Now, obviously, there's no guarantees what that means, but, as we know, was it squeaky wheel gets the oil, closed mouth don't get fed, right? And so we need to make sure that wheel is squeaky, where we can put some oil on it and make sure our mouths are open so people hear what we're saying.
So are we going to tie 12th Street, since I'm on 12th Street, of course, I got to do this shameless plug. So can we get 12th Street as a part of that footprint? Because I don't think I've ever seen anybody from the council come through there and say, hey, how y'all doing? And I know it's Gates, and people think it's Ollie Gates owns that property down there, so they probably don't need any help. But do you think there's a possibility that it comes down and connects 12th Street?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the Downtown Council, looking at 12th Street, I don't, I'm trying to think about the map, how that, when you think about the boundary, but I think 12th Street is in there. I don't know, because it wouldn't jag around and go to 18th Street. I think 12th Street is in there. I don't know how far east it goes.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it goes beyond, Brooklyn on the east part. But I could check, but it would make sense to connect 12th Street and make sure you guys are involved in, all those conversations that are happening downtown.
Yeah, because we need some things down there, and bring them in to read the paper sometime. I'll spring for the coffee. Bring them in there to read the paper and
eat a sandwich.
Eat a sandwich, a sandwich. And get a cupcake or something like that. Love you, man.
Love you as well.
All right, our guest today was Jason Parson, and as always, I have the greatest viewing audience in the world. Till next week, remember, tough times don't last, tough people do. Until next time, peace.